It's Open House Thursday on Your View. Welcome to the show. I am Murayo Afolabi Brown. As always, I have the ladies with me. YK in the building. How you doing?
It's my third day, and my can't do yo again. Yo.
Slowly down.
I'm going to sleep.
No. How you doing, YK?
I'm okay.
You going to party today in Ankara up and down?
Yes. That should be my partner's in-laws father.
Partner's in-laws father. Okay.
Yes, passed away, so we're going, and it's actually at your place there, this time.
Oh, this star? That the service would hold.
I don't know. I think the reception. I don't know.
Mora is not this star now.
I'm not this star.
Her children are there now.
In school.
That's how you don't used to get
this. Stop where there is this star.
That's how you don't used to get all.
You look really nice. Really nice.
Thank
when
you.
they give you Ankara, you cut into skirt and blouse. So the remaining material, what do you do with it?
I'm sure the tailor stole it.
I'm saying that this can be 6 years.
Head tie.
Yeah, it's a strip.
Yeah, but yeah.
I'm sure if I check her status one day, I will see
your material.
They say they use it for something else.
Anyway,
okay.
Let me come to you. How you doing, Mariam?
I'm fine, thank you. I'm just fine.
Are you sure you're just fine? Nothing
Yeah.
else? Okay.
No, because of Mary yesterday, we had confusion.
YK. Let me just tell you, if you've got anything that you would like to keep secret, don't tell YK.
Don't tell YK.
Gossip in the
on national television.
I've changed. Did I say it?
The older I get, the worse you are getting.
I'm telling you.
Hey, Elijah, how you doing?
I want to congratulate my mentor and boss, Ajamina Mohammed. She was formerly with NTA, and today makes it 40 years she's been in media. She's having an event at Kofabayomi, the Nigerian Institute of International Affairs. I want to go for that event, but family demands. So, congratulations, ma'am. And let me just quickly tender apology in case I can't make it. I'm trying to squeeze it in. But it's been 40 amazing years. She has retired from NTA, but she's continued to be in production. I sometimes use her studio, work with her, and it's been amazing. Congratulations. 40 years, no be more. We need to grow and see our work. Yes, and she's still very active and very agile like that.
Fantastic. I didn't even know I had
Our studio is called Ames Media Company Limited. So for those who don't know,
congratulations.
Congratulations.
I'm offended.
Who's offending you?
Yeah.
What did you do?
It's very bad. It's very bad.
We used to agree. Yes, we all agree.
I agree with YK.
YK has burnt you. YK has burnt you several times.
But I won't say it like that. The way I must say it on national television.
YK understands. Anyways, it's Thursday. It's one of those days that we just leave aside to discuss family, gist, and relax and stop, stressing ourselves on Nigerian issues. We're going to break now. When we come back, we look at the front pages of the papers. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
We're going to start with the nation. SANS, poll under threat by returning officers' powers. Council, Labour Party is built on ethnic sentiment. Ukraine's interior minister, 17 others die in crash. 2 remaining victims of the Edo train kidnap attack regain freedom. That's great news. We deducted 3.3 trillion from the Federation account for subsidy, says NNPCL. NDLA seizes properties, 500 billion naira worth of drugs in 2 years. APC PCC slams PDP for avoiding response to the etiquette. Direct flights from Israel to Nigeria starts in March. And why Inspector General Usman's tenure was extended by minister. Okay, which story are we starting with? Major headline?
Major headline. So our eyes are open because Chief Wole Olanipeko and Chief Olisa Agbakoba are doing what SCS should be doing, which is, of course, to probe our legislation that we have. So Chief Wole Olanipeko faulted Section 65 of the Electoral Act, this one that will be determining our elections going forward. And Section 65 empowers the returning officer so much that it usurps into the powers of the court. He says that Section 65 provides, subsection 1 provides that the decision of a returning officer shall be final on any question arising from or relating to A, unmarked ballot box, unmarked ballot papers, rejected, B, the rejected ballot paper, and C, declaration of scores of candidates and the return of a candidate, provided that the commission shall have the power within 7 days to review the declaration and return where the commission determines that the said declaration and return was not made voluntarily or made contrary to the provisions of the law, regulations and guidelines and manual for the elections. And subsection 2 of that same section, it says the decision of a returning officer under subsection 1 may be reviewed by an electoral tribunal or court of competent jurisdiction in any election matters. But it at first has given the power to review to a returning officer. This, of course, is something that bothers us. Then Chief Olisa Agbakoba wrote to INEC to clarify the requirements of a presidential candidate. Let me just quickly summarize. In that section, it provides that a presidential candidate, if there are just 2 major candidates, requires a certain percentage of total electoral votes cast. But when there are 3 of them, it requires a quarter of the total electoral votes cast. And it's a very dicey, unclear area. So in one position, it requires that he has not less than 1/4 of the votes cast. And such clarity, INEC has not responded since, those issues were raised. These are the future electoral petition issues that we'll be having post-election.
The power given to the
Yes, the powers of INEC and powers given to REC. And both of them said that it's amazing that our national assemblies and national houses of law making body put together this act and nobody spotted this this lacuna that
right. Let me take the FAC. So FAC subcommittee, actually the post-mortem subcommittee presented a report on Tuesday yesterday saying that the NNPCL had deducted 3.3 trillion naira to pay for fuel subsidy. That money could have been redirected to infrastructure or development of our country. They also said that NNPCL failed to disclose the locations of government properties, priority projects, which they inherited after they changed their name. Now, government was expecting that they would have some revenue from these projects. According to the report, last year NNPC did not remit 1 kobo into the federal account because it was using the revenue generated from the sale of the crude to pay subsidy. Also, they said that the House Committee was supposed to go and revisit these projects, but they didn't even give them access to visit the project, so they don't even know how far they've gone. And they're trying to hold NNPC to account, saying that your books must be more transparent. You must be able to let us know what is going on and let us know how much is being, how much revenue you're making and how much money that the country is losing to subsidy. Okay, any other story there?
Yeah, I was going to take the Edo train kidnap. The Edo State Commissioner of Communication and Orientation, Chris Nehikari, had said yesterday that the 2 remaining victims have been released, and they were seized on the 7th of January. He also said 2 additional suspects, that's 2 village heads, chiefs, had been arrested in connection with the kidnap, and that they were happy with the success story. The chiefs have been arrested, and they're helping with the investigation. They also, as an aside, they complained that the federal government is not helping them with the Lassa fever. But I wanted to say another person, this is another paper, but I wanted to add the two together. The executive director of youth and good governance, Benson Odia, said that those chiefs are not guilty, that the Edo state government is using this as political, it's because they don't belong to another political party. I just wanted to add that one.
Right.
Okay, but for me, it takes away from the celebration of the fact that all the victims have been rescued.
Yeah.
That is major, and we
Yeah,
thank God,
I
because
think
we
that is
know
major too.
exactly, especially after what we experienced with the Kaduna Abuja train. So
Stuff like that never goes viral.
yes,
Rather
we need to just celebrate that.
Celebrate it, celebrate
Please.
the police who have rescued them. I think I'm just so happy that everybody has regained their freedom.
I have another story. So the NDLA chairman, Brigadier General Mohammed Buba Marwa, was responding to journalists, and he mentioned that one of his NDLA personnel, was killed in Sokoto in the line of duty, and he said that, and then he goes ahead warning unrepentant drug barons and cartels that they will even face tougher times in 2023 if they fall back to doing what they're doing. He said that in 2022. The seizure of assets combined with drugs is a rough figure of 500 billion. Of course, the value of the drugs is up in smoke because they burned them. And then he said that, especially when he was talking about the slain NDLA personnel, he says some communities, some of these drug barons, what they do is they build schools, they build hospitals, clinics in the community. So they come across as being supporters and helpers of these people, and when NDLA or other security operatives come in to get them, they defend them. These barons also arm some of them, so they also have their militia who fight them and kill them. So we just need to understand that these are not our friends. They hate us, really. They're just using us.
Yeah,
so for communities that don't recognize that, and that is another pointer to the government where you need to be present so that you don't there's no void for evil, to take over.
It's a vacuum.
Yeah,
Yes. A vacuum. All right, so there's an important part of the story I took earlier that I thought was really important I didn't miss. The federal government also discovered that the NNPC is shortchanging FAC because they're underpaying the federal government as a result of them using...
Who is FAC?
FAC is the Federal Allocation Committee. So they're the ones that hold our money, right? Now, so they're saying that NNPCL is shortchanging federal government, not meeting the real value because they're using the exchange rate lower than the CBN official rate on domestic crude sale for the product. So that's a problem. They're shortchanging us with the exchange rate they're using. That is really criminal, I would say. Moving on now to the Punch. Let's find a story. Fuel scarcity bites harder. Marketers blame NNPCL. Train attack 2 Edo chiefs, 5 others arrested. FG asks US to probe Nigerian Don's death. Delta 2022, monumental medal padding taint National Sports Festival. Fans excited over possible risky Davido historic tour. Envy stopped Abiola from emerging president, says Obasanjo. Emefiele appeals court summons challenges judge. And Nigeria owes China, Japan, Germany, 2 others $4.85 billion. All right, which story are we starting with?
Can I start with the...
Please go ahead, Waiki.
The federal government has asked the U.S. to probe a Nigerian Don's death. He was found in his house. His name is Professor Marinos Iwuchukwu. He was found dead in his apartment in Pittsburgh with his lady friend. When the SWAT entered his house, because they got a phone call. There's something here. When the SWAT got there, they found him stabbed to death, and his partner, a 50-year-old woman, with a self-inflicted gunshot wound. Yeah. So the federal government is asking the U.S. government to please probe it and let them know what is happening. Let's know if there is foul play.
Okay, so Naba was in, that's our former president, Olusegun Obasanjo was speaking on Wednesday delivering a message at the Old Baptist Boys Association. He was there in Abeokuta and he was giving a speech. The lecture was "Any way Wada's You Are Our Epistle" at the centenary celebration of the school. He was saying that he, alongside MK Abiola, other prominent people like Prince Bola Jibola, were also alumni of that school. He was saying that they would have gladly said MK Abiola was a former president, but it was bad belle that prevented him from becoming president. And bad belle means obviously envy. So he was saying that with an expression from a pidgin language, according to the papers. They were trying to interpret that. Sometimes bad belle envy, is bad belle envy?
Yes,
really. Okay, so we were just going on. I was speaking. We saw the video where they were doing this walk, this trek, and he was there active and still being as boyish as he has always been. So I was trying to see Obasanjo in that. He's over 80, right? He's still healthy. Yeah,
yes.
And he was at Anyanko's party. I mean, the guy is really active. Goodness me. Okay, let's go on a quick break. Let me see how much.
I wonder if he's active.
No, let's move on to the break. Thank you.
Mike, stop wondering.
Don't allow her to say what she's about to say.
Mike, is there a question I can ask him? If I still ask, is the white wants to know if you're also very active.
Why?
Let's go.
I'm curious. I'm just curious.
There's a way to answer that curiosity.
Yeah, so let's go on a break.
Ask that question. Don't ask that question.
No, here's what I want.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
It's not just where, but who wouldn't you want to work with?
Yes, that's on that angle.
So Leifa had a very, very interesting.
You wouldn't want to work with who?
Not
There's no judgment.
No, and I
Oh,
respect,
they'll judge you
I
definitely,
respect
but we won't
this
judge
certain
you.
type of people. But what I dislike so much is when they tend to come to work and then they pour all their
Resentment from
on
whom?
you. Is it me that offended you? I'm not the one. I have no business. Mom just come and work with you, pay me at the end of the month, and let me go back to my house in peace and sleep. But when it comes to like divorced people, I cannot work with a divorcee. I can't see myself doing that. If I find out, if you can hide it or not, but if I find out,
When they're nice divorcees.
I would just
What
be.
if they are nice?
Okay, now it depends. If you are nice, cool. But if you are the type that you don't know how to keep your anger to yourself, you always pour it on somebody. Well, I'll not drop my resignation letter, no matter the amount you're paying me.
So it's more passive-aggressive people.
Yeah, I can't do it. I'm so sorry.
Oh, definitely.
And I cannot work with stingy people.
See this one.
Because you cannot be passing me in the morning, afternoon. I can say, oh, hi, yeah, I'm working. Oh, yeah, take 100 naira,
You
take
can
10K,
employ your sugar
take
daddy,
15K. You don't have to be my sugar daddy or sugar mommy. See, the way you treat others is the way they will treat you outside. And if you cannot treat your workers well, they are not a good boss. If you cannot be dashing me small thing or giving me donuts when I'm working, you are not a good boss.
Doubt and fear doesn't occur at the canvas, it shows in the canvas. It shows the conation of raw earthen
Thank you for staying with us. So we're still reviewing Punch. Who has a story?
So I have the federal government owing $4.85 billion totally from our loans generally. So we owe 5 countries: China, Japan, Germany, India, and France. And we owe them this amount of money borrowed between June 30, 2015 to September 30, 2022. So the loans that we have taken so far have gotten us to that tune. It's amazing how much the amount is. You know, experts are saying, according to the managing director of Carrier Asset Management, Mr. Johnson Chukwu, amid dwindling revenue, we are not earning money from sale of crude. With NNPC complaining that we are not earning, this is a very risky thing because the cost of debt servicing is huge and it will tell on our entire revenue, following this. So we need to improve on revenue generation. Other experts in this article also made the same assertions, but I would leave federal government to advise themselves. subsequently then I will go.
Any other story in Punch? Okay, let's move on quickly now. Vanguard, gradual removal of a petrol subsidy starts April. Moderate growth alone would not be enough to boost economy, says NESG. Muslim ticket, my husband has never impeded my religious freedom, says Tinubu's wife. Buhari approves 1.9 trillion naira for NNPC's intervention in 44 road projects. Nigeria's next president should come from the southeast, says NCEF. Buhari, Obasanjo, Adebanjo, Sanwo-Olu, Obi, Tinubu, others hail Anyoko at 90. And Oshodi Apapa gridlock, touts extorting us, have Lagos government's backing, says truckers and freight forwarders. Okay, which story are we starting with in Vanguard?
Okay, so I have the Nigerian Economic Summit group yesterday. They emphasized that moderate economic growth only cannot boost the economy except with comprehensive and system-driven reforms that can create value to Nigerians. They say that going by the different projections, the economic outlook for the year 2023 remains pessimistic for Nigeria, and that if for us to tackle unemployment, reduce poverty incidence, and address other socio-economic challenges, we need to have comprehensive and system-driven economic reforms. So what he's saying that so far from what they have seen, we're not towing that path, and unless we want to see a different Nigeria where Nigerians are not suffering this year 2023, this is a global atmosphere of this fear of economic downturn, recession, and things like that. But he's just trying to tell us that Nigeria has not put anything in place to show that it's ready, to tackle this downturn that we may be experiencing this year.
Okay, so major headlines.
Okay, when?
So the Minister for Finance, Budget and National Planning, Ajia Zainab Ahmed, was speaking on a TV interview where she said that the federal government will start a gradual removal of the petroleum subsidy, which they have already planned for June this year. They will start it by April. She said it's better to do it gradually so people would sort of go into it than do it at once, where you will shock people. So, but they have budgeted 3.35 trillion on petroleum subsidy from January to June this year, which means that they do not have plans for, they didn't budget for after June, and so they don't have plans to pay subsidy after that time, but they will start the gradual removal by April. I want to see where they will start to invest what they remove starting April, May, and then June. We'll see, and that will inform us, on the sincerity of this policy to remove subsidy.
Yes, so Senator Oluwemi Tinubu was in Imo State yesterday. 2 days ago, she was there for the Tinubu Shetima Women Campaign, and she was there to pledge her husband's support for empowering women. According to her, said they would deliver on all the promises, and she said that she's a pastor. She said, I am a pastor and a deaconess, and my husband has supported me all the way in my religion. Nigeria is beyond religion or tribe. We love each other, and we're going to bring prosperity to the whole of the nation. So she was there campaigning for her husband and assuring that women will be empowered, because according to her, women have never been impeded in any way within her husband's administration in the past, and that they will continue to uphold and support women across board. Thousands of women showed up, and I was really surprised. Even state, everybody was scared of, how IPOB is quite strong in that region. But it's good to know that all the different parties had come and campaigned, and there were no records of anybody harmed, which is good news. Another story in Vanguard, moving on quickly now to the Nigerian Tribune. Section 65 of Electoral Act, dangerous, says Olanikwe. FG state, local governments shared over 990 billion naira in December 2022. Atiku campaigns in Ogun promises power devolution and industrialization. Kidnappers demand 20 million naira on 4 tipper lorry drivers abducted in Kwara. Delta identifies 35 flashpoints of illegal cattle grazing. $53 million debt. Emefiele appeals against summons. IGP not retiring at 60 has a 4-year tenure, says Police Affairs Minister. And FEC okays NNPC to invest 1.9 trillion naira in 44 federal roads. Okay, any story in Tribune?
I was going to take the kidnap of the 4 tipper drivers in Kwara, in Ilorin. They were kidnapped, and then the kidnappers contacted their families and asked for They went to go and collect sand, and that's where they were kidnapped. For 5 million each on each of their heads. So the wives of the drivers were now seen in the community begging for alms to please help them to free their husbands. And I thought that was really, really so sad, because we are the poor people. Where are they going to get money, that kind of money, to free these people? You know, the police, the state police PRO has said, PPRO, Ajayi Okasomi has said that they will soon arrest them.
So
2 suspects have already been arrested.
Okay.
Hopefully
I hope they're able to rescue them, just like
honestly
in Edo State, because paying ransom is unlikely.
But it's 5 million per person.
Yesterday's FEC meeting ended with, presided over by the Vice President, Professor Yemi Oshibajo, ended with the Federal Executive Council approving the recommendation that NNPC invest 1.9 trillion naira in the reconstruction of 44 federal roads. I think about 4,554 kilometers in total. That they invest that amount of money to repair them. This was announced on behalf of the Minister for Works by Laolu Akode, who is the spokesperson to Professor Yemi Oshibajo. This, of course, is a welcome information, but I'm wondering, NNPC that is claiming they are not any money, and it's a private limited. Let's just clear out the grey areas and be sure that this is a neat one.
Any other story in Tribune?
No.
Right? Okay. I was going to take the Inspector General of Police, but I can't find the story right now. Okay. Any story?
It was just they asked him. No, they asked the Police Affairs Commissioner that he's going to retire
at 60.
Yeah.
He's going to be 60 in March.
Yeah.
Now, I think that story that he was supposed to retire, but they're saying that he has an extension or something.
No, that he signed the contract, a 4-year contract. So
he's still well.
Yeah.
That's good. Any other story? The Guardian. We have a few more minutes. Poses on Buhari's security success. Senior advocates question legal framework for 2023 elections. I understand Nigeria's issues, says Kokonso at Chatham House. I was offered 10 million naira visa to implicate Saraki, says of a robbery suspect. Obong of Calabar re-elected days after sacking by Supreme Court. CBN allays fears over counterfeit new naira notes, and Buhari okays 1.9 trillion naira for NNPC to reconstruct 44 federal roads.
Yes, I've got the
CBN.
Yes, so the acting branch controller CBN Akure, Mr. Samuel Giwa, yesterday at the sensitization program for market women and traders at the ADDG market in Akure, he urged Nigerians to disregard all the rumors they've been hearing about the new redesigned naira notes. He says they do not bleach, and that the introduction of the new notes, the economy of the country will be strengthened. There will be reduced expenditure on cash management. It will promote financial inclusion and also enhance the CBN's visibility of the money supply. And then he says that the traders shouldn't wait until the 31st of January to, that's the deadline to return their notes. He's encouraging them not to keep cash at home anymore and also cultivate the habit of taking their monies to the bank. And he explained that the decision that was made by CBN to redesign these notes was not targeted at anybody. Sorry. Well, he says that there's significant hoarding of banknotes, with statistics showing that 2.72 trillion out of the naira out of 3.26 trillion, but here they put dollars, so I'm thinking it must be a mistake, so it must be naira as well. Currently in circulation as of June 2022 was outside of the vaults of commercial banks, and so this is a way also to make sure that monies are returned into the banks and less, outside the banking system.
So one of the robbery suspects, in fact, the principal robbery suspect of a bank robbery case in Kwara State, was speaking to in the court. Ayuade Akiniboson on Wednesday told the court how the former commander of the IRT, that's the Intelligence Response Team, DCP Abba Kyari, offered him 10 million naira to implicate Bukola Saraki in the case. He said that Kyari promised to give him a visa to any country of his choice and for him to implicate Saraki, and adding that he had turned down the offer, saying that he wouldn't collect money. He also said that about 10 persons, if you recall that robbery, 10 persons were killed and several residents sustained serious injuries. He said that they wanted him to admit that Saraki was the one who asked them to go rob, and I told him that I wouldn't do that, that I'd rather die for what I believe. And according to him, they put them in a cell, they shot people, there was some... If we also threaten him to just do...
You know, that was
but they did implicate Saraki. Can't you remember?
We remember his name was thrown around.
Yeah, but
Someone
he had nothing to do with the robbery. He said that we were about 15 to 20 taken to Abuja. I only knew about a few of them. We were put outside and served the meal, but I couldn't eat because my hands were paralyzed due to the torture. According to him, was also torture. So these are...
Wait, is he not a robber?
So yes, he's the principal. Yes, but he was that he wasn't sent. He was asked to say that it was a Saraki.
Sometimes there are some elements of truth, even if he was lying. This case was a straight case. Why are we still prosecuting this case till today? Of a robbery happened about 2 or 3 years ago. It was a straight case. The video was bloody. Evidence is found everywhere. The CCTVs from the banks have caught these guys. Why are we still in trial? Till today, waiting on our uncover.
So that's
not the person.
As again, they said for Nigeria to work, our justice system and our law enforcement must be swift. Those are the two things that we need to do. Okay, that's all we can take on front page review. When we come back, it's Thursday. Start with our hot topics. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
So, have you ever wondered what happens behind the curtains of a man's mind? Or perhaps you're one of those who wonder what men talk about when they gather. Well, here goes. Imagine what it takes to put together the perfect cocktail. Or maybe mocktail. We need a bit of sports, a sprinkling of current affairs, some very deep topical issues, and last but not the least, a healthy dose of grumbling of those we love to hate. And yes, you guessed it, women. So, if you catch the drift, then you're onto something. We will provide you with the right insights into most of your curiosities, right here within this beautiful cocktail we call the Black Table.
And ask questions if I want to ask questions. And if it's something that I saw coming, I may not even ask questions. I may just... I may even tell you I saw this.
What if it's in person? But then, would it make a difference where? So like, this person might just say, you people can just be on 3rd Milan Bridge. On a bike. And the person say, babe, I cannot do it again. And you lose range. So what would change? What would change the scenario? Like does it matter where? Do you want to have like a fancy dinner, like the film you were mentioning?
No,
like
finding your
and then, or do you want to be on the street?
No, carry me go fancy dinner.
Or you might just una dey run for treadmill.
Or you not a job.
You tell you lose for your web.
Now I don't turn attempted murder.
So which would it be? Because I'm like, in person, you have the closure that you want and the few injuries.
Guys, that's one place. It could be inside the car. You can sit down inside the car.
Why car? Why not bike?
Who will be driving?
Why bike?
Who will be
No,
driving
now
at
the
this
car will
point?
be stationary.
Pray I'm not the one driving.
The car will
Just
be
pray.
stationary.
Because I go master. You can't be telling me like me. I'm going to drive near water. You must consider.
So, have you ever wondered what happens behind the curtains of a man's mind? Or perhaps you're one of those who wonder what men talk about when they gather. Well, here goes. Imagine what it takes to put together the perfect cocktail. Or maybe mocktail. We need a bit of sports, a sprinkling of current affairs, some very deep topical issues, and last but not the least, a healthy dose of grumbling of those we love to hate. And yes, you guessed it, women. So, if you catch the drift, then you're onto something. We will provide you with the right insights into most of your curiosities, right here within this beautiful cocktail we call the Black Table.
Thanks for staying with us. So there's been an online conversation back and forth recently about giving money to wealthy parents. Some believe that it's not necessary to give money to your parents, especially because, hey, they are rich, they don't need your money. In fact, some wealthy parents rather spend money on their children, even those who are working and can afford it. But others are saying that it doesn't really matter if your parents are wealthy or not. There is a divine blessing it brings to you when you give to your parents, when they know they're getting from you something. There's something that's intangible. There's an intangible blessing you can't even see that comes with that. What are your thoughts on this? This debate has been going back and forth because various people, some are saying that their own parents are wealthy, they don't need their money, and others are saying, in fact, I think somebody was even specifically saying that, using the example of Isaac and Esau, saying that even though his parents had money, he was still able to bless his father with what he has. What are your thoughts on this? Should we, especially those of us who have parents who are doing well, and even if you don't have parents doing so well, should we continue, especially with the current economy that we have, the hard times, the hardship around? Do you still think it is right for your parents to expect from you? And do you think it's right to you to give parents who already have the means, who have maybe a retirement plan and they're doing well, they have something coming, they have the basic stuff? Should you still give to your parents? That's our conversation this morning. You can call us on 08127053687, 09139076948. You can tweet to us at TVC Connect. Please hashtag YourViewTVC so we can read your tweet. I remember this conversation at some point where somebody was saying that she's working. Yes, she has a decent job, and her family is still working, but her parents are fairly stable. So they're retirees, and they have something coming in from the government every month, and and they are comfortable, they are okay. But so her family understands that she cannot afford to be giving them what she was giving them while she was single. Now when she was single, she used to give something consistently. But now she's married, she has kids, she has responsibilities. Her parents must understand. What do you think? Do you think she should still continue to give, or do you think parents should understand that times are hard, we shouldn't expect things from our children anymore? That's the conversation. Want to start, Mariam?
Okay, let me start, because at first I thought the conversation was about about having rich parents and giving them money would not bring any blessings. It's just like saying God is all, He's the creator of everything, and so when we go back to Him in offering and in tithe, doesn't mean anything. I do agree. The principle of giving is not about the currency, the money itself. It's just to show appreciation. Yes, it's harder to get things to impress someone who already has it all, but you're saying, you know what, I just want to show in some way that I appreciate you. What can we ever give? Even our parents that don't have anything, no matter how much you give them, how much can you give them for what they have done for you? Raising you, nurturing you, guiding you, everything. And then, I mean, it does not, for me, it doesn't make sense. You give because it's your own way of showing appreciation. We do that with friends, we do that with people we love. We're not talking of strangers, we're just talking of showing appreciation.
So I know, I know Daddy Freeze was on this topic too, and I like to maybe just use his comment as a context. He was saying that his mom is a professor, and we know her, she's wealthy. She in fact, according to him, their last trip, she wanted to pay for their tickets and stuff like that. So she was wealthy, and for him, why would he be giving her money? So are you saying that in that situation, we should also give our parents, even if they have more than enough? Some parents are even wealthier than their children. Yes. Should we still, the little you have, should you still give your parents? That's really the principle we're discussing.
It's a privilege to grow old and have your parents alive. Some people didn't even see theirs, as young as 3. So when you grow to 40 and your parents are alive, it means, well, as a Muslim, it means that you're lucky. You can earn paradise by serving them at their feet, at their comfort. So even if they are rich, so-called, like the example he gave, a child should be given at that age to them. So imagine that you wanted to pay for their ticket. He could have said, no, it is now my turn to care for you. Also, giving does not necessarily have to be in cash. There are several services that you do for your parents money cannot buy. And as a child, those are the things that you should be yearning for. Even if they are rich, there's also something called, I call it recycle the money. Because when you give them, they then give your kids. My mom particularly loves to be generous with her. Sometimes when you visit her and you give her cash, you put it in her pocket. And before you leave, all your children should come, you take. Like, so if I knew you wanted to give the children the money, maybe I would put my money in my purse. But if the inability to give those children is what depresses her, so you don't want to see her in that state. Bring that cash, give her, let her be raining the money on her grandkids. That's what she likes. And so service also is, sometimes you go there, you're in touch with them. For my parents, they just love to be talked to. So when my dad was alive, calling them was a lot of things. And one of the things I regret the most was that before my father passed, I wasn't available for those regular chats. And so now my mom, she's on, Nima, you cannot cut the phone. Like yesterday, say you call me back, you didn't call me back. Those little things go beyond what money can buy. So whether you're richer, they are richer, be available for your parents. These days, some of us are jetting out of the country. We are going even further and further. You used to be that you are in Lagos, your parents are in the village. Now they are even in the Lagos, and you are not even in the country. Some people are in countries, they can't see their parents in 4 or 5 years. And you also, all you think about is whether you have money to give them. Some parents will shock you with contentment. There's no amount of money that you have, even the poor parents. There's no amount of money. They just want to remain in their small room in the family house, and they don't want anything but your constant call, caring for them, checking up on them, so that they too can say, I know, I have a father family in that child, a responsible child. So
for those who live abroad, for example, they're used to their parents being very independent. Like your mother is probably still working, still collecting paycheck. You know, so your parents are quite independent. So the idea of giving that your small $7 per hour or $10 per hour, when it's still money here, take this. It's kind of almost alien in different cultures. Yeah. So for those who have that kind of exposure, do you think they should still consider giving their parents regardless, or parents should understand that, listen, right now in Canada, I can't be giving you, everybody has bills, mommy has bills, I have bills, you know, like, because we also have bills as well across the world, so it's important for us to even look at it in different ways. I
think what happens in the Western world, from my own experience, from what I've seen when I travel, and my friends who have children and grandchildren, their parents actually, the children pay the parents to look after their grandchildren. They pay them. If you want, you pay me per hour or per... I know at least 3 or 4 people like that are paid by their children to look after their grandchildren. But having said that, I remember when I was growing up, my father had a lot of money before they burnt his house. When they burnt his house, his finances changed. But before they burnt his house, he was rolling in money. And his mother was already a maid woman. And I know that because till today, she has property all over Abeokuta. So she did not need money. But my father was looking after the car. He bought her the latest car because he could afford it. Yeah. She didn't need it, but he did it. He bought her the latest car. He hired her a driver. He got her a driver. So I think it depends on the individual. Whatever you want to do for your, no matter how rich your parent is, they will still appreciate anything you can do for them. It doesn't have to be money. It can be anything. But I think parents actually enjoy the attention of their children.
Let me go on a quick break. When we come back, we'll take a few phone calls and get a few different angles from this. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Doubt and fear doesn't occur at the canvas, it shows in the canvas. It shows the conation of raw ether material slabbed, stroked and molded at a pace provided by the doubt and fear. Every move way in the struggle of one to the other, merging the past to the present, brushstrokes of colors seen but not known. For when the wailing stops, the pieces settle down in abject beauty erected for a century of a century. Speaking, advocating, protesting as the arts are meant to be. So, have you ever wondered what happens behind the curtains of a man's mind? Or perhaps you're one of those who wonder what men talk about when they gather. Well, here goes. Imagine what it takes to put together the perfect cocktail. Or maybe mocktail. We need a bit of sports, a sprinkling of current affairs, some very deep topical issues, and last but not the least, a healthy dose of grumbling of those we love to hate. And yes, you guessed it, women.
Thanks for staying with us. We're going to invite our caller. Good morning. Are you there?
Hi, good morning, Mariah.
Good to have you.
Good morning, Auntie Wake, Nima, and Miriam. Thank you.
Morning. Welcome to the show, Toby. Go ahead, please.
Morning, right. Okay, so I was going to say something about, Mariah said for those that are like in the diaspora, you know, your £10 per hour and the rest of them. So how do you, you know, send something to your parents? And for me, I'm not sure that it is in the amount of money you send to your parents, but rather in the heart with which you send it. Sometimes, you know, when I consider the amount of money that I have, it may not make sense, but what I do is I reach out to people who have, you know, goods in Nigeria. I could reach out to somebody selling maybe roasted fish, smoked fish, more, you know, turkey, you know, people who cook food, people who can take, you know, food stuff to the house, you know, pay those people and get them to go and deliver those things in the house. You know, so it is not about whether your parents are rich, you shouldn't give money to them or whatever. It is in the heart, and then the blessing is in your parents releasing words over you. Do you understand? You know, there's something they say about that when you take care of your parents, you know how they say, your father will say, you will not. Do you understand? When in fact, there was a pastor that told me once that I should make sure that my mother prays for me every day. You know, just say a word of prayer over me. You know, give them, do things for them that will make them speak words, you know, of blessing over you. And that's the key thing there. It is not in sending them, you know, because they are rich, I won't give them money, or because they are poor.
That's what you do. Thank you so much.
Sometimes they take a bag of rice to your parents, and they already have 20 bags.
They will share
that one bag that you take to them would mean the world to them compared to the 20 bags that they bought with their own money.
Yes.
So I think it's
Thank you so much, Toby. You know, when I was working, my mother, you know, when I was working, giving her something was a no-brainer. When I got married and things got a bit, you know, in the beginning, she understood that yes, you're struggling, you just had the family, and she didn't expect anything from me. Whenever I go there, somewhere, I know you don't have. But if it's just recharge card, whatever, no matter how small it is, let me know that this 500 naira came in, it was my daughter that sent it to me. No matter how small it is, don't forget, it's not, I don't need it. Because my mother actually didn't need the money, but she had this, or she was getting her own money every month. But she said, no matter how small it is, give it. It's for your own good. It's not really for me, it's more of your own good. And that habit, no matter what, every month, was teaching me that no matter what, how small it is. So it's not the money all the time, it's just providing a need.
So just yesterday, I was listening to, you know, a class that I take online, and in that, they were talking about the prayers of the mother in the Quran. It goes, when it's unsolicited, you know, when you have a child and the child just pleases you just bless that child. Maybe in your generosity, you ask for a lifelong abundance or kind of a blessing on that child. Generations to come, that they will just be benefiting and they won't know why the world or their life is so easy. And they are comparing it to solicited prayer. So people in Islam is always advocated that, you know, the mother blesses the child. So some people, before they leave home with the money, in some cultures in Asia, they go, they say, touch my head, bless it. That's not the one, it's different. Just as Toby was saying, when they are deeply happy, relieved of a thing that you've just met, and they just like, no suffering. Or God will bless you.
I want to even take it away from parents, you know, because some people give me gifts at Christmas. So a lot of the things I don't eat or I don't need, it's just the thought that I always appreciate. Like when they give me these hampers. You know what is inside hampers?
The regular provision.
Milk, I don't drink milk. But I appreciate it. Because I will use that milk to bless another person. You know? So I think the art of gift giving is very important. It's very important.
And especially
so for me, I was just thinking that, you know, there was a time we were talking about parents that were entitled and were driving their children to stealing to provide for them. So and if we have a culture it seems like we're developing a culture where we're giving birth to children solely so that they could provide for their parents. And I remember there was a lot of conversation around that, and we, you know, mentioned that is not right. but it's not the same. It's not to say that when you can and you want to, you should not because your parents already have it. Recently, my mom in December celebrated her birthday. My brother had sent her money specifically to make birthday hair. Oh my God, she took video calls. The hair that she makes every time with her own money, but this one her son. My sister sent her cake. I sent her a food tray. She was so excited. If you hear the excitement in her voice, I don't think I'd ever heard my mom that excited. She was just so excited. It was nothing. How much did it cost us? But you know.
Okay, I want to flip that a second.
So those are the little things that
I'm going to come from London. I want to stay on that for a minute. Larry, are you there from London?
Yeah, I'm
live. Go ahead, please. Yes.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah. You know what I want to say about this. My comment on this. We that live over. Yeah, I'm here. I can hear you. So what happens is that our children. We teach them how to know the value of money. If they are living at home with us, okay, what we normally do, some of them earn even more than you. Maybe they earn £25 an hour, £30 an hour, and you, the parent, maybe you are earning maybe £12 an hour, £13 an hour, and they live at home with you. They eat your food. The electricity, gas, everything is more expensive now. By asking them to contribute a little to the household, I don't think it's something that is too bad for them to do. And some of them, they do it gladly. They even give it to you. That or more, oh, can you take this? Every month, they give it to you. And when they move out, they will know the value of money. Because if you don't take anything from them...
Are we still talking about your parents here?
Yes, he's talking about parents.
I would explain. That's an interesting angle, Larry Waju, and I think it's a good angle to bring in.
So he's saying that training your children to know to do this.
I'm not confused.
He says, okay.
Larry, are you there?
Yeah.
I wanted to get clarity. What I thought I heard was that your parents living in your house and they're working. Is that what you said?
No, the children.
Oh, children. Okay. Okay, got you. Okay, I get it. Thank you so much. So he's saying when children live in the house. What I thought you were saying, which I thought was an interesting angle, was that when you bring your parents in from abroad, and because you're a citizen, you apply for them and they become citizens, they're working and they're living in your house, they're eating in your house, that they should also contribute something to the house. It doesn't happen though.
No, he's not talking about...
That's what he said, but it's different. But
once your children live under you and they get to a certain age, from 18 you're supposed to be able to earn. So as a child you're earning, or you're of a certain age, your parents should demand, even if it's a tiny percentage, that you contribute to the earnings of the home. Because now you should be able to go and rent house, but you are not. You're living in the house. You should be responsible. You see, this thing that Larry touched on is why some people, when they visit a relative, they're there. They'll cross leg on the chair. You're not paying rent, you're not paying bills, you're not paying anything. You're waiting for them to bring food for you. When you eat, you dump your plate, you don't clean it. Bad upbringing. Terrible upbringing.
Okay, so I get that. I want to flip it. I'm not saying what Larry said, I'm flipping it. So YK is my mom, right? I'm an American citizen. I filed for my mom to come to America. Now she's healthy, she looks good, she's looking pretty. Yeah, mommy, time to work. Oh. You can do small job, small job. Give you a job, or even just as a nanny work. You're doing nanny, I'll pay you from nanny. Okay, so you're earning $200, $300 a month, taking care of your grandchildren and paying. Now, because I'm paying you $300 a month, I expect that in the least, I buy bread now. At least buy milk in the house.
Your mom?
No, because she's staying in our house. So mommy, I'm telling you, my age, you're doing that.
Let's listen.
We're doing that. Because that's the response people are.
May I not demand?
Understand the picture.
Yes,
and your mother is in the house, eating your food, drinking your meal, using electricity, watching TV, collecting $300 a month at the end of the month after babysitting her grandchildren. Now, milk finishes, water finishes. Grandma cannot. You start small $200 that she has and get her. So you walk down the street and buy water, milk for the refrigerator. She's saving it because when you get to Nigeria, she wants to convert it to Naira.
You don't have to go all the way back to America.
So the point is that that's now. Imagine Nigeria. So the same thing. You're earning small money. Your grandma, your mommy is in the house. You set up a store for her, a small shop, and she's there every day. She's making money. Small rice finished in the house. Grandma cannot buy because my son should be born to buy. So that's on that flip side. I want us to think about that when I take this call. Olabi, are you there?
Hello, good morning, Mariah.
You're live.
Cinema, Miriam and Auntie Annie. What I really want to contribute today is
volume.
Everything in life.
That's fair. Could you increase the volume, please?
To your children.
Thank you.
They are all seeing all the little sacrifice they are paying, either with money, school fees, and that. When they grow, you don't need to tell them. For me, as an example, when working, this and that, I did stay with my parents. Even though I have an objector from the work, and I said, I will move out of this house when my parents say, okay. Because when I said, my father said, these are the jeep that is driving me now. The friends are buying jeeps and that. I surprised my dad with first jeep ever in the life. Even the jeep is not what I'm using. But one thing, I see the sacrifice like, I said, I want something in it. And you see the sacrifice in and out from the mom and from the parents. You don't need to tell them. So it's now left for the children either to fall. We can't all be the same. I have 7 siblings, we can't be the same. But me personally, even my house is not far from them. And Mariah, you still owe me the number. I'm the one that called regarding the house that said I didn't have to pay me that Mr. Sunday asked me to call back and get the number. It's still this same father's house. My house is not far from the house. If I'm going out, I branch them. That's going. Coming back, I branch them. So the act of giving is inside you, not outside. Thank you. Have a nice day.
Thank you very much, Olabi. So you see, thank you for his own perspective. But you see the view I'm putting on now. So we'll move to the debate now. What do you think about?
Let me because Nima is like the opposite. Let her express that.
But you get the gist.
Clearly, I understand it. So enjoy their generosity, but don't ask them. So a parent who is aging and thinking, what do I need all this money for? I have $300. I beg. You call the grandchild, go buy all the things we need in the house. It's their generosity. Enjoy it. And mommy, thank you. And thank them for it. But mommy, when you at home when my child was crying, there's no milk. And with all the money you have, you did not. Don't expect it. And don't even. It's worse to demand it. From my own training as a Muslim, worse to demand it. You must. When you were helpless, that's the way the Quran puts it. She could have trampled on you with one foot and you will be out of breath. She nurtured you. She cared for you. You were weak till you got to adult age and you were able to earn. You don't flip it when you should pay back and expect the person to still care for you because they're earning. Whatever they gather at the end of the day, we'll be doing probate and wills later. And it's still your own at the end of the day. So why do you want to fast forward these things? Let them enjoy at a particular point. I remember when 4 of us left school, university, and my dad was like, I've always loved to travel. I'm a globetrotter, I love traveling. And he started putting his money together for visa to tour Asia. We left him. He started traveling.
Okay, let me respond there because I want to add before you respond. Let me throw in the span. So, for example, this grandma, for example, now calls Nigeria a lot. So, like my brother used to do for me when I was 16. When I started earning, he called me and said, "Auntie, now you're earning money. You've been using yellow highlighter, marking all the Nigeria calls. You had one I was calling mommy in the house. Add it together. This is your bill at the end of the month." So, grandma who has just earned $300, he's always calling him. Can you call? Always calling mommy, phone calls here. So, this is it. This is your bill. Yeah, because you're earning money. Is it wrong for you to demand that $100 phone bill, you're paying $50 out of it because you don't like always calling Nigeria? These are little things that people might demand of their parents who live with them. Is it right or is it wrong?
So I cannot speak specifically to that culture, the Western culture, but a lot of the things that they do, it's weird to us. But when we listen and understand the context, we can understand why. Especially when it comes to paying of bills, when you're asking children to pay some bills, you're asking parents to pay some bills, and we understand maybe the way the economy is there, so they ask of their parents or whoever lives with them. But I also understand that a giving parent will give birth to a giving child. A parent that acknowledges good, that appreciates, will give birth to a child that does the same. You know, that is the culture in the home. That is something that they practice in their home. So my mom comes to stay sometimes, and she will stay for quite a while, and she will get something in the house that we obviously can afford, but maybe in just a short time. And sometimes I would see that she's struggling to see how, in what way can I just buy something and put something. Every day I'm just eating in this house. Me too, let me put something. It's not because she thinks we cannot afford it. It's not because she thinks that somebody is going to be talking about her behind her back and say, do you know she has been eating our food? She ate all the meat. She not put. No, it's because she's a woman that appreciates and acknowledges the good, you know, and she wants to show that. And I understand where it's coming from. As the same way where we send money to make hair, she knows it's not about money making hair. It's just to show appreciation. It's not a bad thing, but also it can be a bad thing if you have a parent staying with you, for example, and you were out of town, and the child is sick, and all she had to do was remove money to buy medicine, and she put her money on the side because she really wanted to make a call to someone or dash somebody money. That's not as far as I'm concerned. I will call that mother out. You have this amount of money, you should have used that. It's not to say I'm demanding that she must do something for me, but you expect that the person...
Take responsibility.
Yes.
Let me take this call from Chibami Dele from Lokoja. Good morning, sir. Are you there?
Good morning,
You're live. Go ahead, please.
A first-time caller.
Welcome to the show.
Good morning, ma. I appreciate your program.
Thank you.
This topic that you bring this morning is a very interesting one. And the issue is that my problem is this. This issue of Japan now, that everybody is trying to go out of the country. We are not very close to our parents again. How do you be able to even appreciate them now? The situation of the country is causing us a lot of problems. It is good and it's very necessary for a child to appreciate the parents. No matter how small it is or how big, there's nothing you give to your parents that is too big or too much or too small. One of the things that make our parents to have long life is moving very close to them. Let us have time for them. The amount of money you are giving to your parents doesn't even speak well. But the care that you give to your parents is one of the best things that I think a child can give to our parents. And without even them saying anything, the blessing is coming to you. Bible supports it, Quran supports it that we should take care of our parents. So no amount of things you do for your parents that is too much. But the problem of this country now is that when people are not even very close to their parents, some of them even forget that they even have parents. It's not that they don't want to do it.
Thank you very much, Mr. Bamidele.
Can I say something?
Yes, please.
Because you are all talking as children. I'm not talking as a parent because I go to my daughters a lot.
Yes.
And I don't think she has never asked me to pay for anything in the house. But I remember the last time we went, because I've just come, they went to buy food in the house. I went with them. I paid. They didn't ask me to pay. I paid. And they were grateful that I paid. But they didn't ask me.
Right.
If it came to where they will be saying, Mommy, you ate this, you ate that, pay for it, I won't go there again. I will not step in that house again. Not because I will just feel unwanted.
Appreciated.
Unappreciated, unwanted. Because when I go there, I look after the kids, I bath the kids, I do everything. I don't want them to pay me. I'm not asking them for money. But I need, if they show me that appreciation, it will make me happy. I mean, some days they will, let's go and eat out.
Okay, let me interrogate that a bit more. Imagine you move over now and you're now living in the UK. And then you said, okay, I'll be babysitting for you. Right? And then they say, okay, even though you're babysitting, we're going to be earning £500 every month, for example. YK, please, when it comes to the trash, you're the one in charge of taking out the trash. Yeah, we're using the same house.
Wow,
we're not
on this table.
We're using the same house now. Mommy, your job is to take out the trash or make sure that you call the whatever to pick up. You know, they'll give you your own responsibilities. Is that right or is that wrong? Because many of us, when we move, we forget that we're moving to a new culture, a new community, and we forget that this is not Nigeria. You just call one lady to come and do this thing, but now everybody's taking responsibility.
I think mommy would do what she wants to do without you asking. Is that asking or is that demand?
Thank you.
That will not make it
okay. So mommy should know what to do.
Palatable.
Because people struggle. Your own children are doing well, but they ask.
So you are hoping that your mommy would understand the dynamics of this house.
Exactly.
The economics of this house. She's watching her children. She's looking at how they are putting coins together to pay for this, and she decides in her mind without being told, which, you know, especially as an African mother, I'm sure it would be better without being told. I'm going to handle this quietly, or I'm going to be handling this, or you just say it, and you know that it's sorting issues out. They didn't ask for it, but you have figured it out yourself. And yet there's some mothers that we see all the things that are happening,
still demand
how hard things are, and even incur more debt on their head. So that sort of thing, when it happens, YK, do you think it's okay for the child to say, Mommy, see, things are really quite tough for us. These calls that you make, it costs us so much. Would you be willing to do this to pay for it without hurting you?
Where you would
that hurt you? Like, why do you think of that response? Let me take Haji. I've been holding for a while. Haji, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Go ahead, please.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Mariah is still talking. Okay.
No, you talk to me on television, not on TV. Welcome to the show.
The topic is interesting. I'm a grandmother, a pensioner.
Okay.
And I enjoy my children giving me allowances because I love, in as much as I receive pension, I enjoy receiving alerts. I just love all that sound.
Yes.
And at times I drive out. When there is fuel, I fuel my car and I'll put fuel in the generator, in the jerry can back home. I am not expecting my daughter to pay me back because I know at the end of the month what is coming in as an allowance.
Yeah.
Wow.
There are times the soup finishes and I'll make soup before she comes back home. I am not expecting her to pay me back because I know weekends when she takes us out, I know how she will give me a good treat. So for that, it's free to have said something. I don't think
Hajia, can you hear me?
Because like Auntie Annie rightly said, the moment you start asking me to pay for this, yes, Morano, I can hear you.
I'm trying to interrogate what you're saying further, because there's a situation where maybe your children are having financial difficulty and they're unable to meet up with that monthly allowance, that allowance that you love listening, you get it every month. Maybe they're unable to meet that obligation anymore. Would you still, with the little you have, continue to do that which you're doing in the house? She's listening to the TV.
Okay.
I think she's no more there.
She's there. She's listening to the TV. We have to wrap up. We have to move on. Let's. I was trying to respond to.
Honestly, I will do it, Morayo. I have a son that receives lesser than what others are receiving. I go.
Alright, let's go on a break. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
So, have you ever wondered what happens behind the curtains of a man's mind? Or perhaps you're one of those who wonder what men talk about when they gather. Well, here goes. Imagine what it takes to put together the perfect cocktail, or maybe mocktail. We need a bit of sports, a sprinkling of current affairs, some very deep topical issues, and last but not the least, a healthy dose of grumbling of those we love to hate. And yes, you guessed it, women. So, if you catch the drift, then you're onto something. We will provide you with the right insights into most of your curiosities, right here within this beautiful cocktail we call the Black Table.
It's not just where, but who wouldn't you want to work with?
Yes, that's on that angle.
So Laifa had a very, very interesting...
You wouldn't want to work with who?
Not
There's no
disrespect.
judgment.
No, and I
Oh, they'll
respect,
judge you
I
definitely,
respect
but we won't
this
judge
certain type of people. But what I dislike so much is when they tend to come to work and then they pour all their
Resentment from
on
whom?
you. Is it me that offended you? I'm not the one. I have no business. Mom just come and work with you, pay me at the end of the month, and let me go back to my house in peace and sleep. But when it comes to like divorced people, I cannot work with a divorcee. I can't see myself doing that. If I find out, if you can hide it, but if I find out,
When they're nice divorcees.
I would just
What
be.
if they are nice?
Okay, now it depends. If you are nice, cool. But if you are the type that you don't know how to keep your anger to yourself, you always pour it on somebody. Well, I'll just drop my resignation letter, no matter the amount you're paying me.
So it's more passive-aggressive people.
Yeah, I can't do it. I'm so sorry.
Oh, definitely.
And I cannot work with stingy.
Thanks for staying with us. So we started this conversation initially just by saying, would you give your wealthy parents money? And then it has morphed into other angles, which is even if your parents are staying with you and things are doing well, like Mariam used an example where you're doing well and your parents are helping out. But in a situation whereby you are actually struggling, things are not going as well. Maybe your husband isn't working. You don't foot all the bills, but mommy thinks, oh, it's her son that's doing everything, and you're just keeping everything hush hush, and you guys are managing everything in the house. And she's there just largessing, oh, my son's house, my TV, doing the whole jiggy. And you are the wife that you are doing everything. But mommy doesn't know that you're doing everything.
That kind of mother, Morayo, that kind of mother is not in touch with feelings and
observant.
And
no, it's not fair to say that. Let me tell you why. Because she has raised her son and she believes nobody's saying her the truth. Nobody's giving her full disclosure that things are tough. They make it look as if everything is perfect. You have a beautiful husband. Nobody knows you are struggling. Mommy thinks everything is going well. So nobody's being real with her. So she
will know.
She will know.
She will know.
She will just choose a child.
She will choose not to.
She's not a child. Now, so for some parents like that, they are still parents in their child. She probably knows the kind of child that she has, that the moment you come in now to understand, you just spoil on your hands. So you push the child till that child understands, you go, you persevere, you continue striving. For some mothers, you need to have the conversation. It's like going to your parents when you are broke, so solicit for help. I had such an experience before. I never used to think it was okay asking my parents for help. And that I just said to my mom, help me tell my father that he should send message to me. he got the message. I got cash straight. God rest his soul. Because I was broke to teeth. I could not call any friend. And I'm someone who likes to cover my pain. I just said, Mommy, Carrie, is my daddy there? Tell him I said, because I didn't have the courage to say it to him directly. Tell him to send a message to me. Finish. He got the message.
Because Miriam was asking me something before, that is it okay to ask?
Yes.
Of course. That kind of...
When things are tough, right?
Yeah. That kind of parent, if she has not noticed that things, he or she hasn't noticed that things are tough, that kind of parent, you don't have to ask. You just say, no, things are so difficult for us.
Exactly, you live there.
Hey, there's no money anywhere. If that person doesn't, then that person is a...
I know. Who was telling us here that there's a certain parts of this country, I'm not sure, the certain culture where they say it as it is. The mother would tell you that, listen, I don't care, my son's house and my house, I can do what I want. They don't want to hear under those stories. Their own is that they have responsibilities. Listen, I have raised my child. But you're not there when I was doing everything to make this boy successful. Now he is successful. He has a house, and I'm here now. I don't want to stay there anymore. I want to live in this conditioned house. This is where I want to be. So everything in the house, I am going to benefit from this house. Now, because mommy doesn't know that daddy is still trying to get his business on his feet. Wife is the one that is doing all the bills. She doesn't know that. She doesn't get that information. Both couples will not tell mommy that. Mommy just sees the beautiful house, beautiful everything, house, help, everything, and she's having fun. But calling your mommy that this thing, you cannot continue to enjoy these things, because listen, we're actually hustling and struggling. Mommy doesn't want to hear that.
The question you ask mommy is, I did all this for you. Did you do it for me to look after you when I was...
when you're old?
Did you send me to school because of yourself? Was I your insurance? That's the question you ask mommy, because when I paid for my daughter to go to university and everything, I didn't pay
for her to come back to help
and look after me. That never crossed my mind. My role was, I want to set my child up to
put yourself in the shoes of a woman who has struggled to raise her child.
I wanted to answer YK.
Put yourself in the shoes.
For some parents, the children are their insurance.
Yes.
So if you put all your efforts, you carry all food in every express road that you know, you make sure your child attended the best of schools. Your dream was that child would do well, be so successful that you would never lack again. And the child now does what you say is not your insurance. Now, I don't know these people are reading all these articles from, but as far as I'm concerned, that child will have bad luck if he doesn't pay back. Because maybe that parent suffered girl child abuse in those days when they didn't educate her. But she knew the value of education. She made sure you got the education. She would do anything for her child. You know? And then the child is asking her, who send you message?
That parent that did everything for her child and she lacked because of her child will now, when the child has now moved into his own house, come and say, oh, I demand to stay in this house. Oh, I demand this. You don't demand now. Your child will know to do it now.
Doesn't have to
you know, this reminds me of
what I'm saying. That's what Ryan is asking. No, I say, I suffer for this. I must stay inside this.
But the culture is not bad. They are bad people, but the culture is not bad. The woman can become a problem. No, I'm just trying to put it in perspective. The woman can be a problematic person who thinks that, oh, now that he now married his wife, you know, where the woman is sitting down,
she's very secure.
Then you bring the Venza and say, no, because my wife, she needs the exposure. You package your wife, and the woman is checking. You will now be asking her, where are you going safe? Do you need a car? Or some people who the wives to say, if you want to buy your mother a car, you must buy my own first. So the reality is that you must encourage your husband to first of all pay forward what made him a marriageable husband for you, material for you in the first place.
I don't disagree with you.
Yes. So and all those that mother will not then have to become vengeful and say, I demand. Oh yeah, go and that your mother carry her out of this house. You know, don't set up that kind of situation.
Okay, let me take this call from Abubakar. I'll come to you, Mariam. Good morning, Abubakar. Are you there? Hello, Abubakar. Are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Mrs. Abubakar, you're live. Go ahead, please.
Yes, I'm a grandma.
Yes.
So I'm a first-time caller.
Welcome to the show.
I've tried this life severally. I'm happy that I'm
so glad to have you.
Yes, I'm happy to get through to you. In the past, I've wanted to contribute to some topics, very, very good topics that I have a personal experience, but I've not been able to do that. So I'm happy I'm able to go to this morning.
Yeah.
I'm a grandma, and all my children were in Nigeria before. With all this Japa syndrome, 3 of them have gone.
Yeah.
They give me monthly stipend, but one of them in Canada now said, Mommy, there's a lot of bills to pay. You give me plenty time to settle down here, because myself and my husband use all our money to relocate to this place. Honestly, Morayo, I am very happy. But the problem I have, that I may digest, that the 2 of them are up there and I have just 4 of them. One alone in Nigeria. If anything happens to me, just like some of your colleagues have said that it's not the money that they give me. I want their presence around me. I want to see my grandchildren. I have about 10 grandchildren now.
Wow.
What I do is video calling. I do video calling. I want to be. Do I go on vacation? In fact, when I go, I spend 6 months. But I'm running away from cold now. So you understand?
Yes.
So, it's not the money you people give us, because my children are like Morayo's age. So if they are calling me, if when they call me, I'm very excited. If I see they are gone, I'm doing it, I will drop it. I will say, I will start praising them. I will start praising them. It's not the money that they give us.
Thank you, Mrs. Abubakar.
I'm not feeling entitled. So you understand?
Yeah.
I'm not feeling
entitled.
Thank you so much. I mean, she even reminded me of Mama Brown. So Mama Brown, she's with us, and she's my brother, my husband's sister also has a house. So that's where they moved in. So they're just next door to us, and they didn't do Wi-Fi for her. But just for that, you have your phone, but what she needs most is Wi-Fi, because she wants to be calling her grandchildren every single day. So just having the data here, she uses it for something else. So I can understand where Mrs. Abubakar is coming from. That is that connection they are constantly saying. But that brings us to another part of this. So this topic has been evolved wider. We're widening it now, because all the Japa people that have left, your parents will be the one to support. Go, just leave this girl, leave. They'll set a meeting for you to go. You don't go finish. And I'm like, I won't see my children. You'll be hearing that clinical gave birth, that one gave birth. You can't, Mrs. Abubakar can't travel. Some people can't travel. So that disconnection is also there. It also kills a lot of grandmas. So today is a grandma day show. It kills a lot of grandma and even grandfathers, because they want to see their children, but they're unable to. That's another part of this conversation that was not happening.
Most children are irresponsible now.
How, Waiki?
When you Waiki?
How? Suffer than inconsiderate for you to Japa, not Japa. When
it's not money they want to. They want you to come home. You can't come home now because you're still settling down. You're still trying to get
home, but you can call me.
Yeah. It's not the call they want. They want your presence.
But see that they pay for you to Japa. They know they're not going to get your presence now.
Okay.
Exactly.
They know that you have to settle first. It's when you settle and then you don't look back. Yes. That is an ungrateful child.
And that is where this culture of you are my insurance policy. I'm a mother. There are many things I'm doing for my children. God knows deep in my heart, it has nothing to do with what they will do for me in return.
In future.
My happiness is that these children would thrive and they'll be happy and they'll be content and they'll have no reason. I'm coming. And they'll have no reason, to be sad about their life. My mom struggled. And in her struggle, she did the best that, she could. And sometimes I think about and I now that I'm a mother, I now see that it was not about the fact that she wanted us to one day come and save her. It was because she wanted to make sure that this struggle she's struggling with her life, her children will not have to struggle. So yes, parents there are some sacrifices they will make. I may not see my child, but how is Canada? Are you eating? Are you well? Do you have friends? Do you have a job? Are you putting money? Do you have money in your pocket? That would be joy to many parents. Knowing that I've even given you an opportunity to go and thrive somewhere.
Straightforward.
For me, I feel that a parent.
If you are unable to accommodate her in Lagos, for example, let me give an example. So mom still came now for a few months. But if you have something, mom said you can't come on because we're still struggling right now. I can't have you in the house.
Yeah,
like that.
No, she would not have liked that. She would not like. That's what initially when we're talking about showing appreciation. when you can, you will. And the parent already knows that. If the parent is that way, she has raised a child like that now. In this family, when we can, we show appreciation. That child that is far away would call when they can, would send letters when they can, would even send a small gift to a friend that is finally coming to Nigeria when they can, but cannot travel, cannot afford to travel back. Your parent, a good parent will not hold that against that child. Know that the child is trying to settle down.
The first day my child gave me money, the first day my child gave me money that I did not expect, I was so shocked. Because what I did for my child is not for her to repay me.
Yeah, but you raised a good child.
Yes.
She could have said, my mom is YK now. Shrine long. She doesn't need anything.
But why would she not raise any other child like the child that she has raised?
Do you understand? And she would say, really, she doesn't need it. Then she will never think of you when she's bringing in whatever plans or any she's making. Some kids live in the same house with their parents and they won't even see them in 24 hours and they will not be bothered. I want to explain something clearly to Miriam. So I have parents who gave me the best of life, but they don't expect it forward. In fact, they will tire you with their contentment. Now you go, they regret, they shame. But I know that people demonize this pay back to parenting. In this our new found Igbo mentality of why am I your insurance scheme? In the olden days, parents looked forward. I remember my mom saying, my children never suffer what I suffered. My mom had a temporary blindness issue when she was a child, and so she couldn't complete education. One of the things that pained her the most was that because she was a girl, they didn't go further for her to see. And the thing later resolved itself. And that, she wasn't as educated as she would want. She had 4 girls. My mom was the one that took me to primary school to ensure that everything I needed, I got. Now, fast forward, I would say no, because she doesn't expect it as an insurance, I would demonize that culture of giving back to parents. It includes carrying your parents when they are weak. It includes beating your parents as if you bet them. It includes covering them up when incontinence and all of those illnesses come forward. That's what it includes. You are their insurance in their old age, in your strength. It's not about money. And when money comes in, do not demonize it. You see, when our attention starts to divide, we marry, we grow, our work, our demands, and all of that comes in. It's easy to rationalize things and say, if you are abroad,
I need to respond to this.
If you are abroad and you can't come home, but you make the plans. I see families where I live, every December, the house is full, tight seats. Shebi Morale gave an example. Everybody's around her. She gets the opportunity to see her kids but they see you making that effort. That's the insurance.
Okay. Let's people take from Peter and I'll come to you, Mariam. Peter from Abuja has been holding for a while. Good morning, are you there?
Hello, good morning.
You're live. Go ahead, please.
Morning.
Yes. Morning. I don't want to contribute a little to this program, the topic of conscience today.
Go ahead.
Yes. Giving is spiritual, and when you give, like the good book says, it's added on to you. So, taking care of your children when you are, your parents when you are, is very germane. And the ripple effect is there. When you have the heart of giving, you will give, no matter what it takes, whether the parents are rich or they are poor. Giving is spiritual, like I say. So it is very, very pertinent that children take care of their parents and give, irrespective of whatever circumstances they find themselves.
Okay, thank you, Peter.
Yes, so what Nima is explaining is the fact that when I say that you should not make your children your insurance policy, she gives, the scenario she gives for me is the worst case scenario. When you say when I say that you should not make them your insurance policy, I'm not saying that you should not be kind towards your parents. You should not give when you can towards your parents. Because if we're to say that that's what I'm saying, that's what it means, then we're also saying, then what are we saying to those parents that say, because of this culture that you're talking about, my children and my insurance, have gone as far as saying to their children, your friend that do Yahoo, does he have 2 heads? Because in every situation, there's someone or there's a group of people that will bastardize the true intention of what it's meant to be. So when you say that my child is my insurance policy, they push you. I remember when we caught that, the police caught that OB boy that was a big Yahoo boy. No, not even Hush Puppy. It was one other one. And that was on Forbes 30 under 30. Yeah. There were so many conversations of children saying, my parents have told me to my face, that what are you doing? If this person can do it, oh, it's Yahoo, so what? You must provide. Oh, everybody has come home for Christmas. This one has come home with a car. This one has come home with a house. You have brought nothing. And they don't care how you get it. Yeah. You must pay me back in such a way that I can flaunt it for other people. So when we're having this conversation, there are worst case scenario. We know that. But we are hopefully talking to normal human beings that understand the principle of appreciating and reappreciating. The way your parents do not take you as an insurance policy and do not feel entitled to you is also the way that you don't feel that they're a burden on you. You already, for me, I just don't understand. If you're raised by someone who is already that way, how would you now go ahead and think, I don't need to call them, I don't need to send them money, I don't need to be of help? It cannot occur to you. Now, I know of real-life examples, I cannot call names because it's not my story to tell, of people who do not have good relationships with their family. People on the outside will be wondering, what's such an ungrateful child? But I've heard stories. Children that it was adulthood that finally gave them that freedom to leave that toxic space and become themselves. Living farther from their families, separating themselves from their families has given them life. When you're in that space, but you're on the outside, you don't know the story, you don't know the journey that it took for that child that is standing on the outside and not paying attention, that child that's able to even close that door, it means that child would leave instead of being there. So there are different situations, but on a normal whatever, I still do not believe that you should live your life in such a way that you're saying, this child, you must pay me back.
So it goes back to what I said earlier, it depends on individuals. So let me take this call from Shola from Makpafu, Luku. Good morning, Shola, are you there?
Hi, good morning.
You're live. Join the conversation.
Thank you. Honestly, this conversation, I don't even think it should be dragged for too long, because I believe if a child is kind and know that the parents have done the work for them from childbirth up to school till you get a job. Even some parents don't even disturb when you just get a job, even when you settle down. I think every month, a child that is kind, that can think, should be able to give their parents, even if it's small. Most of African parents, they don't even need so much. They are comfortable. The majority of them are comfortable. Just hello, how are you? Even if as much as 5,000 naira, send to them. That's what I do for my father. I don't really have much, but I know that every month I send him something. Today is even his birthday. I already paid some money. I sent him the one I can, and he already called me and he prayed for me. That alone is enough. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. So but going back to this insurance thing, but I think they all say the same thing in different ways. So for example, many of you know that I live with my mother-in-law and my grandmother-in-law live with me. And when you hear stories of what Momo has done, because grandma is our only child. She had all our children, they all died. So, and to keep that child, there was so much struggle just raising that child. According to her, she would sell stick, the firewood. All the way from Ikea, she would walk to Ado, which is a distance. It's like from walking from town to town. She walked there in the morning to go and sell, come back home. It was a real struggle to raise this one child. And this is all she's got. So grandma has been carrying her along wherever in her marriage. Now her husband has died, she's in her house. She has carried her along. Because I told you the story that initially when grandma was brought to Lagos, first few months she was just looking at, she was happy initially, but she was just then sad. What making this woman sad? She was sad because she left her grandma, her mother. I don't know if this woman can be happy, but allow that woman to come and join her. So it's the same insurance of that mom. She's Momo's insurance because Momo would have been left alone. That's the only person she has. Momo would have been left alone in the career. But she came along with us. So maybe it's not the demand. Yeah. She didn't demand to be her insurance. I will give you an example. Maybe it's the word insurance that is used. My mom, when she got married, moved to Nigeria. Her mom had trained her in England. That's my own grandmother. My grandmother, she had to put her children in a home because she had 3 major kidney operations. And
they were there for maybe about 12 because she left Nigeria because she had kidney problems. She left Nigeria because her husband was Nigerian. Anyway, fast forward, my mother meets my father, moved to Nigeria. My father paid for my grandmother to come to Nigeria. With her daughter. Her daughter, then because my mother's family here was a bit well to do, they sent my auntie back to go and study in England. But initially they moved there. When she finished studying, she moved back to our house. So for me, it was always mommy and nanny. My grandmother was nanny. Mommy and nanny, mommy and nanny.
They always together.
They were inseparable. Till my mom died. When my mom died, it was we all thought my mother would not survive. My grandmother would not survive. But her other daughter now came to Nigeria and carried her and moved out to England.
So we're all saying the same thing in different ways. So maybe that word insurance is...
It was not demanded. It was just natural. It was the right thing to do.
It's just natural.
It was the right thing to do. Thank you.
What's happening? People say now, how do I say it in Yoruba? Okay. That kind of thing. That may we live well, healthy, to be able to eat from our children. That kind of thing. So maybe you think, no, you're not my life insurance, not necessarily responding to you, Miriam, just to this. Because I've heard this thing too many times and it pains me. You know, trying to make the mother's expectation on her child look terrible. Demonize it.
Trivialize it, yeah.
People who have come, some motivational speakers have climbed pulpits in grand, full venues and demonized this thing and called it freedom. Economic, financial freedom, they call it all sorts of things. That your mom, who's that one human being, or your parents, if he's a father, that one human being or two of them, they are both alive, that you expect something of you. That no, because you want to break through in life, you have to cut off them, let them understand that you want to break through and their demands will not let you fly. As you're planning your life, can you be planning that you never lack what to give them?
If you do, remember that whatever you do,
you will reap. Yeah.
Do you understand? If you abandon your parents, your own children will abandon you. It's as simple as that. The law of karma, I believe in it 100%.
It's fast from ego to those people that said all this.
Honor your father and your mother, so you may live long on
this.
this earth. It's just normal.
I wasn't even there.
So I mean, I think really, I like to believe that everybody, if you're the right person, you do the right thing. No matter what situation you're in. Don't leave, don't forget your past, don't forget your parents. Exactly. No matter how rich your parents are, we've agreed that we should do something. It doesn't have to be monetary. Anything, remember to take them out sometimes, remember to spend time with them.
Find a way to be present.
Yes, find a way to be present. Every Sunday for me was a ritual to always go. How many minutes but that? Just for me, especially if you don't see her, it's because, there's house furniture or something. Something always happens. You know, so let there be something that you know that you're always there. As long as you're fine, just like you said, it's not the money you give to me. I know that you're fine, but at least you know that I am your mother. These are little things parents want to. It's not your money they're always looking for. Let's give you comments on social media.
Mohammed, this is what scares me about Jackpot for parents. Parents crave attention, love and presence when they grow older. Andrew in Streatham, always like Miriam's take, always speaks with wisdom.
Oh, thank you.
Cool GJ Funky Flex. Don't know what he was thinking. He made. They are talking about Daddy Freeze.
Okay.
When he made that,
I don't know what he made. Thank you, my son or daughter. Don't you know when you gift your rich parents, they gift you back double. If parents doesn't reciprocate, doesn't mean others don't. Francis Nja says there's ultimate parental blessings attached to giving to your parents, whether they are very rich parents or poor parents. It's a natural bloodline appreciation and kindness from you to them as your parents. This goes beyond insurance mentality. Delani Robert says, normalize calling your parents at least every week to know how they are doing. If you abandon them in their old age, you should be ashamed of yourself forever. Take good care of your parents.
You know, go ahead. I have Maya from Idun. I'll come to you, take the Aya from Idun, please go ahead. Aya from Idun, are you there?
Yes, good morning.
Good morning, you're live. Yes.
Yes, thanks for the topic. It's very enlightening. Yes, I remember that I have 2 children. One is my daughter is a doctor, my son is an economist. Okay, my wife is 3 years into my marriage. My husband had a very bad stroke. So I was the one that took care of my children from primary to up to the university level. But I could remember, I didn't think they would pay me back, but mine was to train my children to make them successful in life. But I remember during COVID time, even while I was building my house, at the time the money finished. My daughter was married then, but I didn't ask them for money because I didn't even think they're supposed to give me money. It didn't cross my mind. So I struggled to build my house. But they were there for me, and how do you do it? We'll go and let me check the place. But I remember during COVID time, my daughter just called me. That was the time they were saying, everybody should keep the house, you should buy food, we're going out. My daughter just called me, I'm not, I said, fine. He said that, have you been able to buy food? I said, I'm waiting for my pension. Oh my goodness, Mommy, I'm sorry. Mommy, I'm sorry. And she sent me just 10,000 naira, which was a huge money then to me, because I didn't have anything to buy food in the house. But to the glory of God, up to today, she has increased the money, and this will give me 50,000 every month, which is basic. My son does too, everybody does. I didn't ask them. I didn't even look at that side. I was thinking they're still making their own life. So it's not for a parent to demand.
Yeah.
Whatever you do, you will sow.
Exactly.
I would like to sing the song. My grandma, when I was young, she would sing, Bodalemayo, Bodalemayo, baby, Bodalemayo.
Oh, that's apt. When it's in the evening, I will still be full. I think because of something.
It's not because of hunger, but because of my child.
Imagine that. It's a beautiful song.
Solomon relaxing music. Nima, please, is it necessary to give your wealthy parents? This is the question you ladies have missed out in your out of your discussion.
Discuss it.
It's musical. That means the answer.
Yes, it is necessary.
So, like not like Daddy Freeze. Like, let me the Daddy Freeze. Your mother is a professor. It's fine. You don't need to give her cash. But the time you take your children to go see grandma, that in itself is like you can't even quantify.
No, he himself is rich. His mom is rich. Build an edifice in the university and name it after her. Take her while she's alive to cut the ribbon.
I'm sure he appreciates her.
If he gives his
carry her alive, not dead. Build
that's more than money.
An honorarium edifice for her. Carry her to cut the ribbon. I appreciate it, even in her way.
I remember my husband's mom, before she passed, she used to love it if you spent time with her to play cards. She didn't, towards the end of her life, she wasn't really going out as much. So all she wanted, anytime, sometimes we used to sneak past her, because if she had this like this, you sit down with her, you play cards, you play crossword, you play Sudoku. That's all she wanted. She didn't need anything. She would be the one calling everyone.
Before he died, Baba can lecture. If he catches you like this, just like this is 3 hours hearing stories. Professor, can you come on, Professor? You will sit down and lecture this man, please. I want to. You don't even go and pee. You keep rolling like because Baba will not let you go.
At that age, they really want your time.
Many of these days,
attention. I remember my auntie before she passed me, and so rest in peace. We took it upon ourselves to send the car to pick her, bring her to Lagos, take her to her grandchildren, because her daughter had died, and we used to send money to her. Do you know how she appreciated that money? It was so touching, and the way she used to pay for my brother and I.
Of the heart.
Yeah. Igwe Buike says parents have the right to demand from children. After all, they put up their lives for us to survive. They borrowed and toiled for us. You can borrow to send money to your parents. Africa is not Europe.
Miriam, please. Let me build on this thing you said. I have seen
parents. They can't demand. That's what demand.
That's his opinion.
I have seen parents with teenage children, as in 12, 13, who will say, well, I cannot come and kill myself. Now this, make I first chop first. Now the one I chop, I will take carry, and they would not prioritize their children. The child, you will see the child struggling, say, okay, I think I'll break through with football, but the moment the child breaks through, you see that parent, such parents, you will now compare them to your own that if once you say, they say I should buy something in school, they will just give up their luxury. They'll give up their necessity. They'll give up everything for you. Fast forward, do you? So
it depends on the child. If it's a good child, the child will do the needful.
When somebody is giving motivational speech and his experience, and his experience is that of the parent who didn't know it was priority in their lives, and is advising people generally to say it is a fraud for your parents to cash in. No, I don't know how they reach their conclusion. Me, I'm not motivated. I did not go coaching anywhere. I'm saying there's a school of. But your parents, you saw their sacrifices, and you grew up. And you fall into that category. It's like something you lose inside.
Engine, don't look. Omonti says, what about the parents who abandon their children? And they are directing the question at me. I don't know why. Okay, so let's answer that question. He's asking. This is Omonti asking, what about the parents who abandon their children? Okay, I have a child and I abandon her and go away. Leave her for everybody. What? Must I still provide for that child? For that
Yes, that's what they're asking.
Yes, that's what they're asking.
That's an interesting.
That's a very interesting question.
Do we have time? If we have time, let me give you an example. So, for me, I feel that a child learns from their parents. So, if you're raised by a parent who did not teach you the principles of even loving and being kind and taking care of you, when a child that's abandoned is likely not to feel any reason to show appreciation, acknowledge that parent. There's a Hollywood star that once gave a story of how when she was growing up, her mother used to almost pimp her to Hollywood directors. When she grew up and she married her husband and she had money, she abandoned her mother.
Away from the toxicity.
And she was happy until she started having issues in her life, right? And her children abandoned her. She was a good mother. But the thing is, she said her children never saw how to take care of the person, of a mother who has been bad towards you. So it took her and that's her problems to go back to her mother, repair her relationship, reconcile, and then the children have now learned, okay, if you have a mother that is not all that, but this is what you can do. So you have to teach the next generation the principles for them to be able to do it. That's
fantastic way to respond. Let's take a call from Joke from Iju. That's what I will wrap up. Good morning. Joke, you're live. Go ahead, please.
Good morning.
Good morning.
We can hear you. Go ahead. You're live, please.
Yeah. Thank you for what you are doing. I love your view. I've been with you since 2013.
Thank you.
This thing, there are some mothers that don't take care of their children. I've seen a woman that cannot even support her husband concerning her children for anything. She's not ready to. Then even a couple on her children. Not even 15 years, you have much to be saying. Break. She will not. What do you expect those children to do when the children grow up and their mother is rich? But the children are seeing it as it's only their mother that is taking care of them. Just imagine that type of mother. There are mothers and there are mothers.
Thank you so much, Joke. That's an important point. But you see, that woman has learned it from somewhere. So maybe her own parents, her own mother too, abandoned her. So that's what ma'am just said. Somebody must break it. Because her children will do exactly the same thing to her. So somebody, that's why we need anti-Muslim, other therapists. Somebody must be able to help that woman understand why is it that you don't like taking care of your children. Something happened that caused it. Because if not, your children will do exactly the same thing to you. And if you're having that dissociation from your loved ones, from helping to take care, it happened because you either learned from somewhere. These are all learned behaviors. And these are things that can be broken by professionals. We have to wrap up on this, but I think we've tried to, the objective of this conversation is to remind us of our responsibilities to our loved ones. Yes, it doesn't have to be financial, but especially our parents love more of our physical appearances, our time, and just little things. The fact that they know that you care for them, you love them, is the most important thing a parent. But if you have a parent who needs financial support, it's important that it's not your insurance. You're not their insurance, but it's to be an obligation to you to do the right thing. If you're raised right, you should ensure that you've raised them. I have to go, but I cannot leave this show if I don't say this. When I tell you that YK is old. People will laugh at me.
YK,
63. She don't be 63 in May.
62.
Yeah, she's 62. But do you realize? I'm the one speaking.
I'm not talking. What are you afraid of?
Please, let me tell you what YK did. YK is party stuff. YK, I should be today. This blue she's wearing. It's for tomorrow's party, oh. She's 62. She don't realize that the party is tomorrow. She thought it was today. She missed the numbers and the days and the invitation card. And she now just dressed up, get. That's why she's going back to her house.
YK, help me with an answer.
Please help me with an answer.
She's moving the cloth back because for tomorrow's party. When I tell you YK is old, people will be saying that YK is not old. YK is an old woman.
Morai, they say when you dig a hole, dig it small. Because yesterday, 2 of Morai's children had birthdays.